Hi guys, I'm not going to be introducing you any further. Each one of you is a big name by in their own rights. So let's get down to the business. And today we are going to be introspecting. We're going to hold a mirror to ourselves. Why do we as architects do not matter to the public at large? Why does the profession of architecture not matter? The projects that we do are at best about personal glory or for the glory of the clients. It doesn't permeate to ordinary people, to the public at large. And that's why I think the profession remains self limiting. A thought came to my mind that since we are always self limiting because we are designing either for the client or for our own selves or the glory of a very few people who get affected by that, what if we introspect on designing for the public? What happens when you design for the public is that people whose lives are untouched by design, whose lives are untouched by architecture, somehow get to imbibe or get some kind of an imprint of good design. Just imagine a good public space, even a simple bus stop with a good ergonomically designed bench, a park bench, a water fountain, a nicely designed footpath, a landscape courtyard, a water fountain. All of this, when simple public people interact with them, they get to understand the nuances somehow of good design. And that imprint that leaves them with good design will permeate in their sensibility. And I think what we will be able to do is to have some kind of good design in the public realm. What is actually public realm? Now, to my mind, everything, when you step out of your own house, unless you are going to a place by privilege, it remains a public realm. So streets, roads, parks, open areas, all of these areas will always be called as public areas unless you are entering them by right or by privilege. I think over some time now, there has been a lot of emphasis on trying to find what is the definition of public space. And I think we have oversimplified public spaces by trying to pedestrianize areas, by trying to dampen the traffic, by trying to block the traffic, and calling it a public space. And I personally feel that's not the most democratic way of doing things, or usurping non-democratic ways of blocking traffic, because traffic or cars or vehicular traffic is as much a right as pedestrian is. One of us, Prasanna, has been working extensively on pedestrianization of a lot of cities. Why don't I bring in Prasanna? What is your take on pedestrianization as getting back public space in a city to the people?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And let me start from saying that I'm not pedestrianing public spaces. So there is no notion there. And we have not been really involved in pedestrianizing public spaces. What I always say, and it is extremely important, is that there has to be equality and equity. And the public space belongs to everyone. And there are many stakeholders in it. And every stakeholder has a space in it. So you mentioned about vehicles. Yeah, of course, vehicles have a place in the public space. Buses have a space in the public realm. Parking is required. Walking is required. Cycle is maybe required. Hawkers are there. Then there is places for people to sit. There are utilities. There are trees. There are services. So public space has to have everything in it. And now it becomes extremely complex. So these extreme strands, if at all they are taken at times, I will call them at times extreme when we say that this is to be pedestrianized or whatever it is. I see hardly any example in India which is completely pedestrianized. So I don't think that really is happening at all. In fact, what is happening is that there is no space for the pedestrian to walk in the 90% of the city streets and the roads. And people are walking actually on the road. So having said that, how do you equitably distribute this? and give that right, because we have a limited space available. Widening of streets, widening of road is not possible in the Indian rail because the buildings are already there. So what we are always trying to do is democratize this and give them an equitable space. And let me also tell you, it is extremely complex. And as you rightly said, that we as architects are always, I call them, within the boundaries. And I think we need to move beyond the boundaries. And the boundary starts after our plot. And when you are outside the boundary, then the design becomes extremely complex, because yesterday Naresh was talking about who is the client. And that's precisely the point. Beyond the boundary, everybody is a client. The politician is a client, the bureaucrat is a client, engineer is a client, the NGO is a client, the merchant association is a client, the traffic engineer and the traffic police is a client, the citizens are the client. So this designing becomes extremely complex, and it is becoming day by day very, very engaging also. For us, it is extremely engaging. And this has to happen with a people's participatory approach. If we have a people's participatory approach, take the people into confidence, then these public space designing, I'm talking about public place designing, and it is not a must that every public space needs to be designed. We had madams and everything, they were not designed. There are some spaces which are not designed, and they need not be necessarily designed, but maybe they are little bit organized, if at all you want to organize them. But an urban milieu in India is extremely complex, and at times it may be worth living with it, but put little order in it, so that safety, first and the foremost, is safety, I feel. Second is the shade, because we love to have some shade because of the hot climate. And the third one is whether society is happy with it. And the society is on the street. And I think the COVID has taught us how important is the outdoor, along with the importance of the indoors. So how do we design these outdoor spaces and create them for the people? And last but not the least, we must remember that everybody is a pedestrian. Whether I am in a car, whether I am in a metro, the 11 number bus is the most important, because the last mile connectivity is always by when you walk. So that is what I would like to say. And let others also chip in and put some thoughts, and I may come back. Thank you.
Before I let others come in, I just want to give you a rebuttal here. Why do we always design the pedestrian path along the roads? I think pedestrian path means the shortest distance between 2 points. The whole issue is how we have barricaded areas. If I have to move from my society to the society at the back, why is this tendency to take the road and go circumstantial route and reach the gate of the other society? The pedestrian path, actually, which used to be Pagdandi, is between 2 shortest distances. That would mean all you need to do is open a gate between the 2 boundary walls, and that will be actually the pedestrian path. But let's hear from others. So I think the whole notion, and that's where architects are required. Architects are required to find solutions, not to follow a beaten path that, okay, the road has to have a footpath. That road has to have a footpath for what purpose? Why, if there is a bus moving alongside, or a car moving alongside, or there is any kind of a transport system moving alongside, why would I walk? Walking is only for last mile connectivity. And if the bus has dropped me at gate A and the society is at gate B, I think all I need to do is go from gate A to gate B, not go from road A to road B. What do you say, guys?
So I have a little point to make as an extension of, I think, several things. What you introduced us in this session is, I think, extremely provocative in its own way. So I think you have said so many things that I mean, you can have a session just on this sort of opening statement that you made. I think rightly captured, just now earlier is a wonderful thing about, the number of stakeholders that are available in the public realm. In a sense, in my view, when there's an architect or a designer, like one of us, for example, on the board doing a project, and this could be any project that any one of us is doing, essentially the private boundary is crossed, at where the property line is. That's my private realm, in a way, for what you've been hired to, there's somebody signing a check for you, for example. But that private boundary connects, all around with anything outside that private boundary line is the public realm. So in that public realm, when we are operating, and we have to operate because that integration between the getting in and out of the private boundary is in every single project in some way. It has to be there. The moment you step out of that private line and there is some sort of integration one is making between the two, in my view, at that point, for an architect, the client, the main client has to be the public. Maybe, he's hired by the municipality, he's hired by a politician, he's hired by a corporate, he's hired by whoever, for the larger project. But he, in a sense, sitting there, in a way, he is a pedestrian first, he is a citizen first. And there is no other representation in that room when you're, in a way, taking those decisions, where anybody from the so-called citizenry is actually in that room. Because all the designated officers, are sitting in that room and saying, whether it's a traffic guy or the, etc., like, we just, had this lovely list made. The architect is the only guy who's actually representing the public in that room. And unfortunately, that is that point at which we ourselves perhaps forget. That you say, oh, politician ne bola, mere ko ye tile lagane ka hai, ya so and so said this, or yeah, I can't do this. And we have to keep reminding ourselves and reminding all those other people in the room that they're all citizens of that city first. And in a way, it is our responsibility to do that. And I think a lot of stuff that we do, I mean, I think the worst kind of public spaces in all our settlements across at least our own nation are the footpaths. You cannot imagine that you can take your, a kid in a pram, for example, on any of our footpaths. I think almost every senior citizen I know has tripped at least once trying to even go to the walk for a walk to the park. Between his house and the park, he has tripped because the footpaths are so bad. It's just
As
that
architects, we don't take onus for that. That's the whole issue.
we
That
don't.
as
Yeah,
architects,
we
don't take
have to.
onus for that.
Yeah, at
You know,
that point, the moment I am outside my compound line, frankly, my client is not the guy who's signing my check, but the client. You're representing all these people who are,
Right.
sort of, yeah. And we always seem to forget that.
It's akin to there is a pandemic, and who's treating? It's
I'll
eventually the responsibility of the doctors. It's people who are not ill, and all kinds of doctors. What I want to say is, Ayush is there. There is homeopathy. There is allopathy. There is bhoot pret, whatever you say. I mean, there are Bengali doctor. All kinds of people have jumped in. Everybody who's remotely connected with anything medicine is jumping in to solve issues of pandemic. Similarly, I consider badly designed public spaces or no public spaces as a pandemic, and any kind of architect, urban designer, anybody who has any design sensibility needs to butt in. I don't think we need public to awaken us. I think it's our duty and responsibility. Abhi, you
I will I will add here. I mean, I'll add something here. Uh, Let us accept the fact that we have no civic spaces, no public spaces at all. And then comes the issue that we as a community have failed our citizens in providing a meaningful alternative or meaningful policies or contributing like a CSR activity of practice. Let's accept that. But if you look at it philosophically and historically, we as a community, we as a race, are very intrinsically inside looking. We have no community base. We have no community interaction. If you see, I'll give you an example of our music. Let's say classical music. If you compare Western classical music and Indian classical music is centric, person centric, where one is a main performer who either is a vocalist or an instrumentalist or whatever, and with one or two accompaniments and the music is done. You create wonderful music. But look at the music that is produced by the Western classical music. I'm not saying good or bad. I'm not passing a judgment. But look at it. They have, they have these orchestras. They have these choirs. Everything is community participation with hundreds of people, singing the same notes. While ours is very intrinsically single person oriented, and that percolates down genetically. And I can give you hundreds of examples where you will, where I can show that even we as a community are not bothered about public participation. We are intrinsically oriented. Do not take it as negative, but I'm just trying to analyze why we do this. And this apathy comes to public spaces as well, civic spaces as well. And we architects need to come out, and we are the only ones, along with our co-consultants, who can provide this, this very important civic space for our citizens. I mean, public spaces is one thing, like Prasanna was saying, Maidans and open grounds or whatever, but civic space is the most crucial thing that our cities are lacking.
So, Vivek, if I can chip in, very, very rightly said by uh, Prasanna initially, and then Salil and Habib also added. Let's look at the solution side of it. We have been talking about the
Right.
problem side of it. If you carefully look at all our cities, development plan is looking at the road, looking at the plots, looking at the public places as a park, museum, waterfront, etc. But the time has come where there cannot be a generic solution. Our DCR are generic. If you have a plot, you have to give 25% open space within the plot, and you have to do this kind of a building. So if 25% space within the plot is required for the recreation of the occupants of that plot, and you'll see an exemplary examples of a beautifully done internal courtyards and podiums and terraces, whatnot.
True that.
So there is no dearth of talent or skills. But as all three people said earlier, we are confined to the plot boundary. Now the time has come where we have to do a precinct-wise, cluster-wise solutions. There cannot be a generic solution to any city. So as you said, somebody said very well, the land belongs to a city and the FSI belongs to a developer. So you need to lift all the structures, create a porosity wherever it is required. As what you said, why do we have to go all around the road and come back to the plot which is next in the next lane? So how would you do that? Every city has wards. Like Mumbai city has 221 wards, and every ward is peculiar. The population density is different. The proportion of the open spaces and the public spaces are different. So each and every ward should be taken as a micro studies. There has to be a case specific study based on the kind of a redevelopment component is there. And they have to be designed the way we design each and every project for our client. That is not a generic solution we give. Our solutions are different based on the size, shape, and the kind of requirement of the client. Similarly, the time has come. And this is what has been exercised in a lot of our neighboring countries. You see the newer master plans are giving more emphasis, like Salil said, to the people than the plot owners. But our emphasis is more on the FSI, more on the within the plot. And you'll see all our plots have a gated community. That
Exactly the
particular
point.
gate has to melt. There has to be a porosity, at least in the mixed use. In a residential, it's fine. You have a gated community because there are small children. You need a privacy. But all the mixed use complexes, all the public buildings, why do we have to have that rigid compound wall, which kind of tells you, no, you can't come inside? How can we create that porosity? Of course, we have a challenges of a disaster management in terms of terrorism and rights. But I think we need to get out of all these things and come up with some solutions where I think it's doable. It's all about taking a baby steps. We have been talking for ages. Ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai. We don't care when the DC rules are published. There is a proper time given for us for suggestion and objection. And I must confess, which also includes me. We tried doing that, but I think that is something that we need to reinitiate. And then
So again, we're doing, to my mind, we are doing the
What
same
you said
thing
was Hong
again.
Kong and Shanghai Bank.
absolutely.
Yeah, they've lifted the 2 floors, and there is that porosity that happens on the ground level.
Yeah,
Naresh,
you create a public
If you know, Mr. Trump has earned all his money. Mr. Trump's company has earned all his money by giving such solution to New York City. He used to
he's
always
ceded
negotiate
all
with the
his
New York City
boundaries.
Council and
But-
getting more FSI and getting more things. So that kind
But
of
Sandeep, that is my question. That is my question.
Yeah,
that
imagine Nariman Point without all the compound walls. I mean, it would be a marvelous space to be in.
But
Nariman
Salil,
Point
that-
without compound walls.
Salil, that is the question. That will it
Yes.
become a public space by right? It will still remain a public space by privilege. What Trump has done in New York City, in Manhattan.
No, see
only walls.
you have to we have differences in demographics, and that's something that is unfortunately a fact. New York City's sort of demographics, and Bombay's demographics are quite different in the way. Of course, now when there's a problem in New York, even there is rioting and looting that goes on, which perhaps doesn't even happen in Bombay.
The human
so,
race
yeah,
as
but-
such and the requirements for the human
So,
race remain
yeah.
the same. I don't think
But
there is
we do have certain fears of saying I need to be able to protect my plot and that. So those are things that one has to be able to to buy people in to say, why do you need a compound wall? And in BKC, for example, a lot of buildings actually now don't have compound walls.
Yes.
They're going back to what Ballard Estate used to originally have. And
So that
you're actually getting a lot of wonderful public art and all kinds of things that are being sort of brought into BKC just because the compound walls are being diluted from there.
So, Salil, let me throw it
Vivek,
open.
Vivek,
Let
can I
me-
say something?
Yeah, absolutely, Naresh.
Okay. See, the fundamental issue here is public spaces is about politics. Okay, the private commissions are about commissions that you and a client have a compact and you work together to achieve that compact. Or whether it's a tiny interior or a giant IT campus, you have an agreement and you have full control. What most architects don't do is understand, and I don't mean politics in the exercise of power. The politics of public space is fundamentally different from the politics of private space. And if you do not engage with the political system in whatever flawed political system that may be there, and most architects, most people don't want to engage with the politicians of the day. And if unless you engage with the politics of the space, which means that I was making a joke yesterday saying we all love to use the word stakeholders. In India, all stakeholders have the stake in the hand with the pointy edge pointing towards you, right? To propose something. You have to be able to deal with that kind of public criticism of what you do and also be able to play the game of play the political game, because what happens is that, unfortunately, with this particular government that we have today, and I don't want to be, I'm saying that sometimes it's like anything they do is opposed by a certain bunch of people. I mean, it's not like that earlier. The atmosphere has got vitiated in the past 3-4 years, particularly. That anything they do, whether good or bad or mediocre, is immediately opposed by a bunch of people. So actually, instead of the government becoming more open to public participation in public projects, the guys are actually clamming up, which is very visible in the current giant project going on in Delhi right now. The level of information available to all of us is much, much less than what would have happened, say, even 7-8 years ago. Fundamentally, we refuse to engage unless if you want to be an architect of public space in India, you have to learn to engage with politicians at a political level. And you have to know how to talk that language. And instead of coming up with high idealism about Manhattan mein ye ho raha hai, London mein ye ho raha hai, this kind of conversation is a pointless conversation. What
I
is
agree with
possible
you.
in India?
I
What is
agree with you, Naresh. So let's look at the solution side of the issues. Naresh, I would like to open it to the solution side. We all are aware about the issues that we are facing every
The point
day.
I'm making is nobody else is saying that it's the elephant in the room is politics. And if you do not engage and understand politics in India, you may as well continue doing your bespoke interiors for 10,000 bucks a square foot and don't come into this space at all.
Naresh, can I just throw it open to the
And
solution side?
discussing
I
in
would
cocoon
again drag
forums.
to
I
the
need
solution
to
side.
throw it open to
But
the solution side of the issue.
Vivek, I think what
Salil, wait a second.
Vivek,
We
what
will
Naresh
end
said.
up being on the problem side. I want to be on the solution side.
No,
Like
but I
in
think
a
what
conversation,
Naresh
You're
said.
from Sandeep said, on
No, but what Naresh said is a
Vivek, you are not finished defining the
Vivek, one
problem.
second. I think
You cannot have a solution without the problem.
yeah.
No, I'm
You
saying
can't I think what
problem-
Naresh said is a definition of the solution.
No. See,
perfect, agreed. I'm saying
It's the
what is
beginning of a
solution?
solution.
Talking
So
about
let me
dealing
say
with
it.
competition.
Put it in one
There is no two-line solution you're going to come
Put it in
to
one line,
a
right?
No, I'm
conclusion.
talking about design solutions. We are
Hold
not
on.
going to policy
Problem-
solutions. We've finished
problem-
this.
No, not policy. He's talking about a way to maneuver things. You want
Problems
Okay,
cannot be solved.
Salil, just a second. Let me just come back to what Prasanna and Sandeep have spoken about. They've spoken about silos, societies being you
I
have
haven't
common
finished,
areas.
Vivek.
Why can't we combine common areas between 2 societies, 3 societies, 5 societies? It becomes a larger contiguous open space. Even if you want to have boundaries, build the boundaries along those open areas. Why do you want to have those open areas within the society? This is the solution side. And this is how architects need to think. We don't need any sermons more than what we already know. We are all
Yeah,
aware
but Vivek,
of
you can't, even if you are dealing with two societies that are neighbors, that have been neighbors for the last 30 years, it is politics. You have to deal with oppositions within the society. Please understand. So you cannot pretend as if everybody there is,
I'm talking about a layout being done where the open spaces are on one corner.
How can you play God and say I will do a layout?
No.
You
This
have
is
to
not
talk to
saying
all
God.
those
This is
people.
a design
Of course you are,
solution.
yeah.
No. This is design solution. As architects,
Design solution means that you have to, the design solution have to evolve from the people. Na?
Yeah.
It
So
has
I'm
to
saying
evolve from the
You
people.
cannot
it's
impose
the
it.
same thing. People are
So,
not directing you your design. Design is done by an architect, and if we don't take responsibility of our own design, we will go on creating what we have been
Yeah, but to
creating.
be able to,
Can I put it in
yeah,
one line?
Yes,
Problems cannot be solved. Issues can be resolved. Problems cannot be solved. I'll repeat it again. If you go about it like a problem solving exercise, it's a stupid thing to do. If you go after it like an issue resolving exercise, then you come
resolve.
to a compromise and a negotiated idea what to do. And that involves, I don't mean politics as in politicians. I mean politics like what Salil is saying. Inside the society of every building, there are buggers fighting with each other tooth and nail. Imagining
So
two societies, but you have to be a natural politician. You have to understand how the politician is able to control 10 lakh people as masses and
I
apply lessons as architects to the design of public space.
we are addressing the
so
architect.
Vivek, can I chip in here for a minute?
Please.
Yeah. So, Naresh and Salil, while fully appreciating what you have said, that's a current fact. But I kind of agree with Vivek. Somewhere this ice has to be broken because this is what has been passed. But you look at the bright spot. Salil, you mentioned Bandra Kurla complex. Bandra Kurla complex, the entire association of the commercial building, they came together, they developed their own SOPs, they got the master plan done of that entire 5 square kilometer, and they got the results. So as a designer, if we'll keep on pushing these boundaries and keep on producing some cluster designs, and once people will see a one good example, it doesn't take much time to get it viral. You see, even if you see that, yes, there are a lot of challenges, there are a lot of hurdles, but at the end of the day, if we really look at it in a holistic way and try to find out solution in a small examples. Let's not try to do a big thing at one time. If you take a small cluster and if you demonstrate that this is a kind of benefit that everybody can get by developing a porosity, obviously, and there is a cluster development policy there in all cities where government is also incentivizing with more FAR, with more kind of things. So design is the only solution to this. Once
Absolutely.
we
That's
come
what
up
we are
with some
looking at.
design solutions, it will start, the ball will start rolling, is what I feel.
Absolutely. And then
See,
there
the
are newer ways of
only
recreating public spaces, as we were discussing. And I think we need to move the discussion further to how can we regenerate or get newer public spaces. You said, Habib, you said that there are no public spaces in our culture. I'm talking about how, and it is happening in Bombay, it is happening in Delhi, it's happening in every other city. The paucity of being able to interact, the paucity of open spaces outside. Today, BKC is a big example. We have cyber cities. Earlier, office meant an office building, nothing else. Today, it's become extremely important to have abutting space because, offices are 24/7 and 24/7 offices need different time activities, and the abutting space has become very important. It has truly become an public space because it needs to be safe and secure for women. It has to be secure for office goers 24/7. If you see the cyber hub next to cyber city, if you see all the commercial area around BKC, if you see the fort area, if you see Ballard Estate, if you see all these areas where it used to be completely office activity, it would shut at 5:36. Today, they have been regenerated because of mixed land use, change of land use,
no, no, no. So
some
I
kind
don't
of
think,
other activity there.
Vivek, I don't think Fort area is now
No,
regenerated today. It was always a mixed use space ever since it was conceived. That is the whole success of Fort. And that is
Ballard,
why it is still a place that people want to have offices in.
Ballard Estate.
I mean, it is a much more successful commercial area than even Nariman Point ever was. I mean, though prices in Nariman Point may be higher, but just the quality of the public participation in a place like Fort was magical. It still is, and it's always been like that. It is not something that happened like now because some new restaurants have come there. There were always fantastic restaurants in Fort.
What is the
And there were clubs and there were all kinds of activities
no.
there. Yes, the residential component and there's a residential component, in the neighborhood. So actually, it was always a very successful public
But
space.
don't
At
you
some
think
point of time,
the other areas? I'm maybe not very good with the Bombay geography, but what I mean, all these areas, Kala Ghoda and the areas around, which were completely office areas earlier. Now they've got restaurants, they've got shopping and everything, and it has
no,
reached.
Kala Ghoda was also not a exclusive office area. That's what I'm trying to say. It's always, in fact, it is sad that places like Nariman Point happened in spite of these examples being around in Bombay. I mean, when you had Fort and you had Kalagoda and you had Ballad Estate in Bombay, and then Nariman Point emerged, and the way it emerged in terms of, it was just a colored development plan to say this is all commercial. It is sad that it happened when you actually had a neighborhood right there, like 2 kilometers away. It was so rich, in the way you could, in terms of public participation. It's an all-inclusive area. In Fort, you don't feel that you need to wear a suit to walk around. You do feel that you need to wear a suit to walk around when you're in BKC. Let me tell you that. If somebody goes for a job, he doesn't have a job yet, and he goes for an interview in Fort, you can get a sandwich for 15 rupees outside here. Whereas in BKC, you can't. You have to go all the way to Bandra station. You want to get a small affidavit made, in Fort, you'll find somebody who will make an affidavit for 15 rupees. You can't find that in BKC. So
Is
it
that
doesn't
because
go,
of
in a
the
way.
nature of,
So
is
then you
that
get
because of
hawkers
the
coming
changing,
there.
yeah, is that because of the changing nature of public space? That is another question
So
that we need to address.
it's
I
not
think
the
the
public.
public spaces are
I
changing.
think there is some way in which we have to continue to recognize that the way Indian people function has not drastically changed in the last. Maybe our economy hasn't moved enough. Maybe you still have people who are the I would say the lower rung of the haves, for example, who can't afford to go and eat in any other restaurants at BKC. For example, I mean, in Fort, you got all kinds of restaurants, right from the Taj all the way down to the guy who makes vada pav and tomato sandwich. Whereas you
So
don't have these
this,
places.
this Salil brings
In
me to the topic of placemaking in public spaces. So that means we need to do correct placemaking. There has to be
Yeah,
fancy restaurants, but there also need to be kiosks. There need to be
yeah.
place for hawkers.
So
There need to be place.
otherwise, yes. Otherwise, the hawkers will come. There is going to be guys who are going to send you empty envelopes. Because people need empty envelopes in their offices. They need to be some guy who makes rubber stamps. In India, we still function like that. You tell
Right. So
your
that
guys,
is
"Jara rubber stamp bana
that
ke
is
lao." In BKC, you
that,
can't. There's nobody who does that.
no denying that. That is exactly what I'm saying. So, how do we make our public spaces vibrant, keeping the changing times that are there? BKC will sell at a certain rupees per square yard or square feet, and it's an upmarket solution to office goers. Now, how do you make it relevant to, even as you are saying, people who need to be there? So, this is what is the nature of public spaces. They need to be dynamic, they need to be moving with the times, and they need to be inclusive. Now, my question to Prasanna, when he was talking about, and we spoke about, that all your pedestrian spaces in India needing to be inclusive will also mean inclusive of cattle, because that's the truth of our country. That we have hawkers coming and sitting into pedestrian areas, and in Delhi, in fact, Mr. Kejriwal says the first right on footpath belongs to the hawkers. And then we have cattle moving around on the road. And today, in our democracy, you can't even say about anything about cattle. So, what would you do? How do you design those public spaces which are inclusive of for the bona fide people?
See, let me also take this point earlier, which was mentioned about dealing with politicians, which Naresh mentioned. And I fully agree with him. If we want to be in the public realm, first is obviously the people. The topmost is the people. You have to deal with
Right.
people and you have to work with the people. Second is the politician. Until and unless you are able to work with the politician, this will not be in place. All our projects that we have done, they have been with the politician. And just an hour ago, I was with Mr. Ravikant Joshi. He was also mentioning this. If we are able to convince the politician in the public realm, then things will happen. Having said that, whenever we have dealt with them, we have always emphasized. And day before yesterday also, we had a big meeting. In 3 days, we are dealing with a politician where he has his fixed ideas, and we are trying to convert him patiently. And one of the points that he was making about is the hawkers. Let me tell you, the duality of hawkers. He's showing me a photograph. He says, "These are the hawkers which are on the footpath, blah, 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 blah." I said, "These hawkers were selling marigold on the Dashera day. Your society people wanted this marigold next to your doorstep, isn't it? आपने भी लिया होगा, आपके मिसेस ने भी लिया होगा, मैंने कहा मैं भी लूंगा। कहता हाँ बराबर है, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल ऐसा ही हुआ था। I said, we want all the convenience at the doorstep. At the same time, we have this whole notion of there should be no hawker. I think there is a complete duality there. Hawkers are part of the society. They are there on to be on the street. But the only question is how they should be sitting and where they should be sitting. So there
Right.
has to be some planning which has to go into it. Hawkers don't block the footpath or whatever. You look at Mumbai station roads. You get down the station, then you are going. Now this is what people need. While going back to the home, They want to pick up the vegetables and also able to walk. So you have to create this and you have to understand the human behavior, because public design is with human behavior. And there are a number of examples where this has been successful. Also, somebody was mentioned, how do you get public space and how do you get more public space? It is again trying to deal with people and negotiating with them. Public space is all about negotiation. We have done a project recently where these boundaries were there, and you're talking about crossing through the societies. I will not touch upon that, but I will tell you, in certain societies where the public frontage has been of the shopping and there are boundary walls, we have been able to convince the complete street of 1 kilometer that you please give away your front boundary wall. Your people who are on the street will have direct access to the shop, and one by one, all boundary walls have been removed, and the footpath now is 7 to 8 meter wide, where people can access their shop directly and not go through the boundary wall. And this is happening on almost now 2 to 3 kilometers in Pune. So, but it didn't happen overnight. And the person who is absolutely responsible for it, and I give credit to it, is, let me tell you, the politician. He's got convinced. And he has been there standing with the JCP, trying to break the front boundary wall, trying to tell them that this is the win-win situation for everyone. So I think that is what it is. It is ground zero situation, and at times these designs cannot be done inside the drawing board. Today also we are marking something over there. I said, chune se lagao, wo karo, working drawing baad mein banegi for record purpose maybe, but let us start. That doesn't mean that the design element is not there. The design element is very much there. So I think we have to work with the people and try to take a very, very balanced view.
Can I say something, Vivek? See,
please, Naresh.
The problem is with the lack of precedents in India as to good quality of public space. We tend to take examples either from Europe or sometimes from even Southeast Asia, like Singapore or whatever it is. See, but the point is that most urban design activities in these countries have a huge component of gentrification, because they are taking rundown areas and actually trying to upgrade them back to the quality that they want to see that is visible in the rest of the city. Gentrification has this unfortunate aspect of pushing up rents, land values, and pushing out people who are original occupants of that space. So most of the experiments in India are based on, most of the urban design experiments done by people are, we don't have till recently we didn't have a proper master's course. I'm not even sure even the current master's courses are producing any good quality urban designers in India yet. Most of them come from outside India who have a completely different idea of the public realm as a gentrification mode. That is to upgrade, say, some rundown docks or some poor neighborhood or something like that. In India is a mixed-use country by definition. Okay, we don't have downtown and suburbs. When people use the word CBD, I want to give them a tight little slap, because there is no concept of CBD like what Salil mentioned, that Kalagoda, that area, is the headquarters of 8 commercial banks of India. Right? The 8 top commercial banks of India are all around Ornament Circle. And it is never considered as a, what do you call it? There's no attempt to gentrify it. There is no attempt to clean it up and move the, what do you call it, undesirables out of the system. I mean, everybody has to look well dressed and clean and all that. That's not going to work in India. So unless you stop these, unless we develop our own theory of urban design, and I've been looking at the syllabuses of the master's programs in all the colleges, it's cut and paste from Western textbooks. And I had a big argument with some academics a couple of days back. I think you are also there in the meeting, Prasanna. Yesterday, I don't know whether you were there in that talk, no? Anyway, so I'm having a conversation with all the academics saying that why are you teaching urban design, which is cut and paste from Western ideas of segregation, exclusion, gentrification, and so on. So if you approach the problem like this, you will never come up with an answer. Like what Prasanna said, if you do not understand equity and inclusion, you will not succeed. And
I'm very surprised that you're talking about politician as the guy who can guide you. In India, politician, my contention to that is politicians do not do anything basis.
That's completely untrue.
No, no.
Completely
You tell
untrue.
me, historically, a railway minister from Bihar, whichever constituency he is, or anybody will make a station
No, no,
stop
no,
there or
don't,
even a
don't, don't
Shatabdi.
simplify.
No, no,
No,
no.
no, don't trivialize the
He will
problem.
get a
A
bridge made.
politician,
Don't
He will
generalize
get
and
a bridge
civilize it.
made. He
no, no,
will get a
you're
bridge
trivializing
made.
the problem.
He
No,
will
you're
get a bridge
trivializing.
made.
I mean,
He will
there's some
get a
excellent,
footpath
you know,
in his
Politician listens to the
constituency.
mass.
He
No,
will,
Vivek,
Naresh, he will
sounding like
not
Arnab
go
Goswami.
and by the requirement. Why
Yeah,
did you
Arnab,
oppose the Beda Bridge? Take second. Let's get Naresh.
because
Pin him down on
because
this. Why
because
did
it
you oppose the
destroys
Beda?
an ecological corridor. I do
But
not
it was conceived by the politician of that area.
correct, but
So
yeah,
he
but
will
all
misguided.
not.
politicians are not the
All
same, yeah.
politics is not
Come
the
on.
same, yeah.
I
A
agree.
political
Yeah, come
no,
on.
no, 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 no,
Salil,
no.
if you
Listen
are
to what I'm.
You cannot make
so,
a
yeah,
general
I want to
statement
bring
saying all of them are
I,
bad or all of them are
guys,
stupid.
I
Listen
have,
to the
I
answer, no.
have an agenda. I'm sorry, but I have an agenda. I
Vivek has
will
become
I
an
will
Arnab.
leave all of you. My agenda
Yeah,
is that we need
And
to
change his name to Arnab.
yeah. He
Naresh,
only needs one.
Can I
I
can
think he
I
needs one
can I
Pakistani
pitch
architect
in?
who can beat him
Yeah,
up.
you need a Pakistani guy on the panel.
we
No,
We
no,
get you
need
a
no. The
Pakistani
point
architect
is,
who can beat
we
him up on
need
the
no,
to
no.
floor.
move to solution side, guys. We need to
Listen,
move to
a
solution side.
politician, a politician is there, Vivek. A
You
politician is
can,
there in power because he leads the masses. If the whole point is, if you go and tell him one on one what you want, he won't listen to you. You take 10 people and tell him this is what we want, he will listen to you. A politician is led by the mass opinion. He does not necessarily have an. They might have an agenda of their own. Many times I tell politicians, I'm not getting in your way of the political economy use an euphemism. But why don't you do the right thing and do the political economy instead of doing the wrong thing and
yeah,
doing the
exactly,
political
exactly,
So,
economy?
exactly.
Naresh, to
So,
get
so
And
Naresh,
our job
Naresh,
is
let
to
me
guide
let,
them
let
to
me
the
get in.
right
Vivek,
thing
allow
to
me to
do.
talk. Naresh, just hold on for a minute. We have heard you, and all of us are on the same page. Even what
It's not.
Prasanna said, you
Vivek is
listen
not.
to it carefully. The design was initiated by a designer. They
Right.
got a politician who got influenced with the strength of his design, and then the politician stood on the road and made the boundary walls broken. It was not
Absolutely.
initiated by the politician. So what are we
exactly
talking?
my point.
Vivek is also trying to say the same thing. We have to initiate a good thoughts, good design, which are inclusive, which are convincing, so that politician sees his agenda also meeting up there.
Brilliant.
So the ball starts with the designer and not with the politician. We all
And
know
that's
that we cannot do without policies, we cannot do without politician, but we need to be smart enough to develop something which is so nice, so inclusive, and we have to bring that pressure from the bottom by the people on the politician, the way
But you
Prasanna has
think
done.
like a
And
politician,
ultimately,
Mr.
the politician
Sandeep.
has no choice.
Naresh,
Allow
Naresh,
me to
can I
complete.
again on the solution side, can I
That's
bring
the
in
solution.
here the offices of Council of Architecture? And this is what I want to ask. Everybody talks about citizens forum. So I'm saying through the offices of the Council of Architecture, which is the representative body of all professionals dealing with architecture, can we have city-wise, council-wise, a body representative of people and architects who have some voice? Whatever design development we do for a city or a council or a ward, we make a representation to council, and council through its intervention, at least as a body, has some locus standi. Can Habib do that in his tenure? And this is what the whole idea of Council of Architecture is. The council is here to uplift the profession. If we keep squabbling like this, if we keep telling things which are very apparent, we all know, Salil, you and I are not born yesterday. We are all in the same realm. We know how it functions. Is that solution? No, I'm looking at this discussion with such senior people in the fraternity to find solutions, not to flog a dead horse. We all know what is happening here. Habib, please butt in. Tell me, can you help us?
See, I'll tell you. I've been silently observing what all you guys have been discussing, quite heatedly as well. See, when we come to, I'll come to both the aspects. I'll first tell my point of view, and then we come to this role. The first thing is that when we are talking of design in the public realm, the design and the inputs of aesthetics or whatever an architect does is a very small part of the entire process. We need to understand two things: the democracy of the process and then the politics of the process. Politics of the process involves two aspects. One is politics of the people and the politics of the politicians. But in the entire process, like all of us are on the same page, it is the politician who derives the policy, it is the politician who executes and takes the initiative, gets the funding, and does whatever. So the issue can only be resolved by few solutions, and one of the solution is that architects need to become politicians. There's one of the most neglected field that we do not want to take politics as our career. Unless architects become politicians and drive policies and are in a position to make policies, situation is not going to increase. We will sit in these cocoon forums and keep discussing amongst ourselves unless we reach out to masses. Politicians, like I agree, Naresh said, are driven by the masses, and masses can be controlled, or can be, I wouldn't say controlled, but can be opinionated by the opinions of professionals like us, who, if are politicians simultaneously, will be in a very strong position. Now, coming to the aspect of the council, it is high time that the council breaks its own waters and gets out and does things for our profession, for the upliftment of the
You say
profession,
that.
even if it is not in the mandate of the council. For long, the council has been hiding, or people at the helm of the council have been hiding within the cocoons of the rules, regulations, and the act and the mandate given to the council. I am saying, even if the mandate is not there for the council, we should work for the betterment of our country, for our citizens, and for our profession and fraternity. And how we can do it, we can always find a way out. We are always there, and whatever position we are all in, we should collectively work for the good of our country, for the good of our people. And this topic that we are discussing is also a very important aspect of the quality of life of our people, and we should do it. And as long as we are working within the legal framework, within the law of the land, I don't see any reason why council should not do it or cannot do it.
So are you promising us to have some sort of a guideline where we can have an approach to a city council through council, and there is some kind of a body, and this discussion has to lead something positive. You know, there are enough people watching us, enough people wanting to listen to this debate as a conclusive debate, helping. There has to be a takeaway from this. I don't want to really flog a dead horse. So Habib, if you're going to tell us that yes, going forward from today onwards, there will be at least an attempt made to form some kind of a body which can help architects, whoever have pro bono or proactively trying to do something, and council will represent us to the required body. I think that'll be a great help, and we really look forward to that. Naresh, does that satisfy you?
Just tell me the packing.
Just to take it ahead, our next
Tell me the
panelist.
packing of the takeaway.
According to me, let 1,000 flowers bloom. Okay, that is what
Alright.
you have to look at it. And if
Yes.
only way to get into urban design in India right now is a sort of what I call a semi pro bono route, and you
Right.
start by giving the taste of what will happen. And the moment you do that, I think Prasanna has seen that in Pune. I have also experienced that in Church Street in Bangalore. We have to learn three things. One is you have to learn work without a client. You know, and
Right.
like you learn that you're making a movie. When a movie starts with a story, an architect starts with a commission. Unless you're commissioned to do something, most of us won't do anything. A filmmaker, however, starts with a story, builds it into a narrative, then goes looking for a director, goes looking for a producer. That's how it works. Urban design is like that. It's like more like making a movie. It's not like making a building. Rule one.
So
Rule
that
two,
means we need to have solution and go to
you
the
need to have a story.
municipality.
You need to have a story. You need to have a story. Don't use the word solution. As I said, solutions are very, very difficult. Problems do not have solutions. There are only issues which need
Resolutions.
Don't make that mistake of saying solution. And you
I'll
need
go
to
by whatever word you choose,
No,
but as
it's
long as there is a result.
The resolution sounds like a rhyme, but it means completely
Someone
something.
is
It's compromise, it's negotiation, it's understanding, it's consensus, it's multiple things other than saying, I know the answer to your problem, I will do it. You don't know the answer. Frankly, I have learned more from politicians than I have learned from any client in my life, how to deal with public opinion. One. Two, the second part you have to learn in dealing with public space is that, as I said, that you have to learn to shut up and listen to people and not give
When
your
will we learn to design, Naresh? My question
no.
is, when will we learn to design public spaces? all of this is fine.
You will
I'm
design
talking about
only-
designing a bench, designing a bus stop, designing a
Designing a
kiosk.
bus is
No,
not
no,
designing a
I
bench
think
is
you're
not
missing the
public
point, Vivek. I think you're missing the point. I think there's
space.
a larger
Designing,
issue.
you're missing the point.
You're missing the
Designing a
point.
bench is not public space. That's an
You're
industry.
getting impatient to find
No,
कि
no,
मेरे
the
को bench
point is I'm
करना
trying
है.
to make is that no, I am now involved in 7 or 8 giant urban design projects in Bangalore. Well, I'm learning from as I go, and I've talked to many other architects in India, whether in Bombay or in Ahmedabad or wherever in Lucknow, who have been involved with this kind of thing. The fundamental lesson they all tell me is that we all architects are used to other people listening to what we say. You have to learn how to listen to other people and keep your mouth shut. The answer of the design will come organically. It will come in an evolved way, not through a flash of insight like it does for architecture. And urban design is an evolutionary process, while architecture sometimes is revolutionary. Sometimes good architecture, like say somebody like Zaha, is a revolutionary approach to it. If you took Zaha and tell her redesign the old streets of London, she would have goofed it up like mad, and you would have pokey corners in every corner. I'm sure it's an evolutionary process, and there are two distinct kinds of people who need to do this. And you have to learn to, a third thing, you have to know how to give in and do pro bono in the beginning. Like I have another famous architect in India whom I will not name for the he who shall not be named or whatever it is, but who told me that you have to start urban design and you can't keep saying survey plan nahi hai, data nahi hai, AO nahi hai. You start with Google Maps, Google Earth image le lo, usme propose karo. That's all the data you're going to get. And you have to be able to use common sense to build a consensus and to be able to get both political people as well as bureaucrats buying into that idea that it looks good if they do it. It doesn't look good on you. You should submerge your ego to the bottom. You should never let your name come up at all. All your peers know anyway who did it. Why do you care whether your name is, we're all stuck, हमारा नाम drawing में होने का है, हमारे को credit चाहिए. So no credit. I've learned this game the hard way. Now I'm doing half a dozen projects now. And I just want to, I think Habib is trying to say something. I'll just finish with one line. Urban design education, Habib, from one thing I want to address to you, the syllabus has to be rewritten. The architecture syllabus also has to be rewritten in India. I think we have agreed on that. But what is being taught as urban design is just rehashing of Western urban design theory in India. I've been looking at it for the past 2 months. I really feel it needs reform. Thank you.
We're working on the urban design thing and the reframing of the syllabus. Already work is going on. Vivek, I'll just take a pointer which was there in the chat. Someone was pointing a question at the COA. That COA rather save the profession first. I would like to tell who has written the question that is the problem. That is the attitude of the mind. We need to save our own profession. Council is not a prophet or a god who will come and deliver. The deliverance lies within you, within each one of you. Council is you and we are the council. We together form the council. So do not wait or do not look up to the council to come and deliver the profession or save the profession. Profession is not getting killed or is not getting destroyed, but it is up to each one of us to take care of our own profession and excel.
And that's what the topic is, that how do we become meaningful to the society, and that's how the profession will permeate down to the masses. My next thing, I just want to throw it open to and ask Sandeep, what do you think has to be the diversity of public spaces? Different activities, do you think need different kind of public spaces? To me, a park is not a public space. It's a recreational space. It's for a particular activity. Socio-political activities used to happen in Maidans and stuff like that. There is infrastructural public spaces that have come about as undersides of flyovers, metro stations and everything. So what to you are the diverse public spaces that we need? And what roughly is, when you do mixed land use, there is a certain open space that you ascribe to that mixed land use, like you spoke. So what do you think are different public spaces that are required?
Well, Vivek, I would say just one line to the earlier talks that we had. Your next set of panelists are the actual people who have proved themselves on the ground. If you look at Alan's work, like Naresh said,
Absolutely.
He relentlessly kept on contributing his efforts for the Mumbai city's open spaces. This young gene pool has created a kind of a forum, and slowly and steadily, with a lot of talented efforts, they have proved to the community and the society that it can be done. So it's of course a collaborative. It is not who's great, and there should not be any craving for putting up your name, which is very, very rightly said, because urban planning has to be evolutionary. As you said, see, today if you'll see, all these cities are growing. If you look at particularly our country, the rapid urbanization, in spite of developing a satellite town, the tremendous pressure of urbanizing somehow is there. So the proper population density analysis, again looking at the demographics of the various wards and the sectors of the city, and the case specific solution that can bring up the diversity. Like Salil said, when you talk about in Mumbai, a fort area is yet focused as a office area. You're not going to suddenly get their residences. So Mumbai city again has a particular demography, particular zoning. If you go to a places like also the historically important precincts, we have Kota Chiwadi, we have forts, we have beautiful, that realm of a fisherman living here. We didn't talk about the characteristics. We have been talking about all the public spaces, but public spaces must be also contextual. There is a need of an infrastructure,
exactly,
there is a need of a recreational activities, but you need to also keep it in mind. There's a particular architecture which exists there and which has its own importance. The Parsi colony in Mumbai, even after so many years, the Parsi colony has maintained the realm of its architecture because of the community spirit. So coming back to the diversity, yes, the diversity again cannot be termed into any one general term. It will again vary from place to place. It will again vary from zone to zone. It will vary on the specific study analysis of that particular cluster. At many spaces, you may require, there is a basic question of a safety on the road. A lot of old citizens in a residential zone are not willing to come out of their compound because there is no proper sitting on the road. There is no proper toilet facilities on the road. There is no proper pause on the road. So these all elements needs to be captured. We have to go back to the basics, the basic principles of urban planning,
right?
Ensure that they have been there in all zones, and then the solutions can come with this kind of a diversity, is what I feel.
Arshia is saying that I didn't mean to be very critical, and we take that. I understand that in the heat of the moment, everybody, and that's the whole.
No, not at all. Not
and
at
I
all.
think that's why. Yeah, I think that's the whole reason. Why do even experienced architects fall into the trap of my experience is the valid experience of publicness?
What does that
Who
mean?
wants to take this?
What does that even mean?
I think we've already discussed this.
Yeah.
Yes. Pooja, we can take one more. Don't you think inequity is the biggest issue faced by the architects these days, as it's high time we should soften our architectural thresholds and make our boundaries more porous to incorporate people from all socio-economic stratas in our architecture and henceforth in our day-to-day lifestyle? That's by Manish Kala.
I think it's not only an architect.
Successful public spaces when the lowest of the lowest, when the lowest of the lowest is able to access it without any hesitation. That's a successful civic space. Where any person, whether any economic strata, community, caste, whatever, they are able to access a public space freely without any inhibitions and without any restrictions. That's a successful democratic civic space.
So it is said that the depth of democracy is known by the width of the pedestrian footpath in a country or public spaces in a country. I think we can sum it up that I hope that our country remains very, very vibrant democratically. And for that, the architects need to continue to contribute. I think the pro bono word is not very well taken, but proactively in a pro bono manner to make ourselves worth, where people start paying for our services, start paying for our professionalism, and start paying for the good of the society. I would like to thank you all. I know it's very, very insufficient in terms of our own feeling. Everybody wants to say so much more. I've hogged the thing because my job was not to be a moderator, but to be a provocator. Naresh is smiling. I can see that smirk on everybody else's face. Pardon me, guys, but I think this is what is required so that we can have a healthy debate, and we will obviously connect offline. Thank you, Pooja. We will get backstage now. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.